She Who Runs, Chapter 1. The world looked so different upside down. The sky was now a luscious green, with leafy growths reaching down, down, down into a blue abyss. All of the colors seemed to blend together, blurring as an endless stream of blood rushed to Lena's head. Princess Evangeline Goldenhelm dangled by her feet in the middle of the forest. She had grown tired of struggling against the ropes which held her aloft. She had no leverage, no sword, no way out. Her attempts at escape had proven futile, and as numbness began to spread through her skull, she could do nothing but succumb to it. At least her death would be creative. A rumble rose from deep within the earth, like a quiet thunder that made the rope binding Lena's feet quiver. It came a second time, and she blinked slowly, roused from a sleep-like state which had since consumed her. The sound was growing louder, and with each booming quake, Lena was sent shaking. It was when a massive form broke through the foliage ahead that Evangeline became certain of the noise. They were the footfalls of a troll which, she guessed, was the owner of the trap from which she currently dangled. Her vision settled slowly on the gruesome face. She winced at each blurred feature, the crooked lips curled into a smile, the sunken black eyes, the bulbous nose clad with warts. The beasts flashed a set of yellowed fangs and said in a croaky voice, "Ay me, look what I've caught in me old snare." It took a moment to find her voice, but finally Lena replied, "Let me go. Now." It came out sounding stronger than she had expected, but the little confidence this gave her disappeared when the troll let out a deafening laugh. Let me go, he mocked, then stepped forward and grabbed hold of the rope above her feet. He shook it hard, sending Lena spinning. She put her hands to her stomach and squeezed her eyes shut, waiting for it to end. The troll let out another laugh. "You're green." "Well," Lena exclaimed indignantly, her face flushed. "That tends to happen when you jostle people about." "You're a brave little thing, aren't you?" the troll observed, poking her with a giant, pudgy finger. "Leave me alone," Lena cried. "I've never been treated so rudely in my life." Now the troll's smile flattened into a line, and his hand closed around the princess's torso. He lifted her as much as the rope would allow, and looked deep into her eyes. "Don't you go thinking that I've missed those pointed ears you have. I'm not blind." His breath was hot on her face. "You elves think you're so high and mighty. I wonder if you taste as good as you think you are." "Rather a rude thing to say to a lady," came a voice, and both the troll and Evangeline searched for the speaker. The troll let out a gurgling cry and released her, before turning on his heel and lunging at something behind him. Evangeline watched the struggle in disbelief. It was hard to clearly make out her rescuer, but she could tell that he was human or elf. She guessed that it was the former, considering the region. He grappled with the troll, sword in hand, for a matter of minutes before the battle came to a violent end. The man swung onto the creature's back, heaved himself onto the broad, bare shoulders, and brought down his sword into the giant's skull. The troll dropped to his knees, and then his stomach, dead. "Only an elf would manage to get themselves into such a sticky situation," the man said, looking up at Evangeline with his arms crossed. Lena's heart began to pound. Without her hood to cover them, her pointed ears were clearly visible. "What are you going to do to me?" "Well, I'm going to release you, first of all," he mused. "The question is, how to do it without breaking your neck." He stood puzzling for a moment, then swung his sword at the rope where it was staked to the ground. Lena braced herself as it loosened around her feet, and after only a second had passed, she was dropping head first to the forest floor. The man plucked her easily from the air, before setting her on her feet in a single movement. Evangeline immediately collapsed, not yet used to being right side up, and sat rubbing her temples. The man knelt across from her. "So what is an elf doing in this part of the woods? You a spy?" "I'm not a spy. I'm running away," she said, lifting her chin and looking him in the eye. "I'm renouncing the elves." "Oh?" He lifted one eyebrow. "And how are you going to do that, carrying those around?" He gestured to her ears, and Lena pulled her cloak over her head in answer. The man laughed. "You can't very well wear a hood over your head for the rest of your life." "Then what do you suggest I do? Cut them?" Evangeline asked, and when the man shrugged, her stomach began to squirm. "Really? You would suggest that I cut my own ears?" "If you want to pass for a human and not be killed on the spot, yeah," he told her. "Unless, of course, you plan to go back." "I won't go back," Evangeline said sharply. She hesitated for a moment, then murmured, "Will you cut them for me?" The man's gaze softened. "I will if you want me to, but tell me first, why do you hate the elves so much?" "They're just terrible." "How so? Give me an example." Lena's breath caught in her throat as she allowed her mind to race backward, to a day long, long ago. I was young when it happened, she murmured. 6, maybe 7. I was bored, so I did what every kid does at some point or another. I poked my nose where I shouldn't have. I crept down to the dungeons, and do you want to know what I found? Her eyes grew distant, and her eyebrows furrowed at the memory. Children. Children? They were starving, Lena told him, her voice quiet. They were prisoners, I guess, or maybe they were thieves. In any case, they were dirty and malnourished. The smallest of them couldn't have been older than 4. Her expression hardened. I've grown up seeing the tyranny of my people, of my parents, and I'm through sitting around and doing nothing about it. You're the princess, the man said. Lena paused for a moment, then nodded. Yes, Princess Evangeline, Lena for short. We're more similar than I thought then, he told her. My father's General K. My name is Bastian, he added, and put out a hand. It's nice to meet you, and thanks for saving my life, Lena said. Now let's get this over with. She tucked her hair behind her ears and squeezed her eyes shut, preparing for the pain that would follow. When she lost the tips of her ears, she wasn't just losing a piece of her body. She was letting go of who she was before. From now on, she wasn't Evangeline Goldenhelm, Princess of the Elves. She was just Lena, ally of the humans, and she was never, ever going back. So that is chapter 1 of my YA fantasy novelette, She Who Runs, which you can download for free on Google Play Books, and the link will be in the description. Stay tuned because I'll be reading the whole novelette here on YouTube, so if you subscribe and click the notification bell, you will know when the next chapter comes out. Thanks for listening, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye!